Israel Defense Minister Yoav Gallant on Sunday announced a 48-hour nationwide state of emergency from Sunday 6 a.m. local time after the Israeli military launched preemptive strikes in Lebanon. The emergency enables the IDF to issue instructions to citizens of Israel, including limiting gatherings and closing sites where it may be relevant. Israel on Sunday warned that Hezbollah's actions towards Israeli territory could lead to wider regional escalation. The Israeli military said that it was striking Hezbollah targets in Lebanon in self-defense after identifying the group was preparing to launch their attacks on Israeli civilians.
We can see that Hezbollah is preparing to launch an extensive attack on Israel while endangering the Lebanese civilians. We warned the civilians located in the areas where Hezbollah is operating to move out of harm's way immediately for their own safety. Hezbollah's ongoing aggression risks dragging the people of Lebanon, the people of Israel, and the whole region into a wider escalation.
And the military also warned residents to immediately leave areas where Hezbollah was operating, with air alert sirens sounding across the country's north.
The IDF is striking terror targets in Lebanon from which Hezbollah was planning to launch their attacks on Israeli civilians. This follows more than 6,700 rockets, missiles, and explosive UAVs fired by Hezbollah at Israeli families, homes, and communities since October 8th.
Hezbollah claimed it had launched a barrage of missiles at Israel overnight, targeting a string of military positions. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant attended a meeting at the command center in Tel Aviv. Israel's Prime Minister's office said that they were assessing the situation and the Prime Minister will convene the Security Cabinet shortly. Meanwhile, the Defense Ministry said Gallant briefed U.S. counterpart Lloyd Austin on the overall situation, asserting that Israel was determined to use all the means at its disposal to defend its citizens. The two leaders also discussed the importance of avoiding regional escalation. All right, we'll go across to DD India's Akshay Dongre. He has more information on this. He's joining us live from Delhi. Akshay, Hezbollah announces large-scale attack. Israel begins preemptive strikes, and Hezbollah has launched over 150 projectiles towards Israeli territory. What is the latest you can tell us?
Well, the situation remains tense, Abhishek, as far as the West Asian region is concerned, and something that we are seeing right now unfolding in the West Asia is somewhat similar to what happened in 1967 as well, when similar kind of tensions were seen for several days between Israel and Egypt, and then Israel had launched preemptive strikes not just in Egypt but also in Jordan, in Lebanon, in the neighboring countries, to ensure that its borders are not threatened by the growing hostilities. And somewhat similar happened last night as well. From what we are hearing from our sources in Israel is that Israel has launched a barrage of attacks on military installations in Lebanon, especially from where Hezbollah has been operating. And now, ever since we have seen, the death of, or rather the assassination of Hezbollah commander in the past few days, we have seen that Hezbollah has been challenging Israel and has been threatening it with large-scale attacks, and getting information from its own secret agents that are operating in the region. It had come to a conclusion that an attack is imminent on Israeli territory from Hezbollah's side. That includes not just missile attacks but drone attacks and other forms of attacks as well. And that is what Israel is claiming, that to avoid that and to avoid that attack that was imminent, according to Israeli authorities, they launched a preemptive strike. However, how far-reaching consequences will this exchange of attacks will have on the wider region is yet to be known. In fact, all the neighboring powers, including Iran, Syria, Iraq, and other countries, are keeping a close eye on the growing escalation, including Saudi Arabia and other nations that are in the region. And though there have been attempts to de-escalate the crisis for several past weeks, it seems that that hasn't worked out really well for the region. In fact, the tensions keep on growing. What we are seeing is that Israel has been in close coordination with the United States military. We are seeing that several carrier groups of the United States Navy have also, marked their presence in the region from all sides surrounding the region as well. And now this is a heavy presence from the Americans as well, as far as several battle groups are concerned in the region, that in a way has been to ensure that there is no large-scale attack on Israeli territory from Iran and its proxies that are operating in the region, whereas Iran has been expressing that Israel has been continuously vouching for war. It has been asking for war by launching these kind of attacks, by the assassination that have been taking place. So something that started last year from a Hamas attack on Israel has now, in fact, started to evolve into a full-blown war in the region that is not only involving two parties, Hamas and Israel, but a larger escalation of the conflict is taking place, as we are seeing. And the hope of the world, in fact, and the regional neighboring allies as well, has been to ensure that the de-escalation starts taking place as soon as possible. But despite repeated requests, it seems that the de-escalation pleas are not working, and the tensions are rising. And now we are standing at the edge of a full-blown war between Israel and other powers of the region.
But Akshay, yes, this escalation comes after weeks of growing tensions between them. The situation remains grim, fluid and tense, and further developments are anticipated.
Well, it's highly likely that some sort of escalation further takes place from here, unless a concerted effort is made by both the parties, as far as ensuring that there's some kind of middle ground is found between the hostile parties there, including Israel, Hezbollah, Iran. So there are several parties at play as far as the ongoing conflict is concerned. While Israel has been consistently carrying out its operations in Gaza, Iran has, the supreme leader of Iran has also said that a revenge has to be taken from Israel as far as the assassination of its commanders are concerned. As far as Iranian commanders are there, Hezbollah, in a way, also is now vouching for revenge as far as the assassination of its commanders are there. And it seems that Israel has not stopped as far as these operations, these assassinations are concerned, when it comes to the hostile commanders that have been in the region, that have been preparing their militaries to attack Israel. And it seems that Israel continues with its operation. And while there has been no effort from Israel as well to de-escalate the ongoing conflict, the other parties, the other nations, including Iran and other parties that are at play here, including Hezbollah and Hamas, they are also now strengthening their militaries or they're ensuring that they are also prepared for a scenario of a full-blown war. So it seems that with both the parties now preparing for the war, a chance of de-escalations seem low. However, there are efforts being made by global parties like India. Other parties have also called for peace to ensure that the region does not go into a full-blown turmoil as well.
It certainly raises the risk of wider conflict. All right, Akshay, keep tracking this story. We'll keep coming to you.